Hey everybody, welcome back to Durbin's Bourbon. I'm Joe.
I'm Cole.
This is my oldest son. He is up visiting, so we are going to do a whiskey comparison. It's a blind. I know how y'all like blinds out there. This one is a blind of $40 and under whiskeys. Not just whiskeys, but bourbons only. So these will only be bourbons that are in the glasses. They're labeled very similar to the way Josh and I do it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So from the inside moving out, it's 1, 2, 3. He's up here visiting with his girlfriend Savannah. So Savannah and Megan poured our whiskeys. They know what it is. They labeled what's in here. It's in a sealed envelope. We're going to reveal what they are. So the comparison, it's a blind, $40 and under bourbons with a drinker. Cole does enjoy whiskey, but obviously he's much younger than I am. So his journey is newer than mine, and a palate that's been tasting whiskey for, almost 10 years now, compared to a new one. See if we can compare. We're drinking the same whiskeys, so when I edit, you all are going to see the whiskeys labeled. So when his number 1 and my number 1 is exactly the same, number 2 is the same, and number 3. So we're drinking the same exact whiskeys that you all are going to know what they are. And then we will know when we're done. We're just going to do a tasting notes, see what we think. If we like 1, 2, 3, which one we like better, just a simple thing like that. And they're all reasonably priced, $40 and less. There could be some in here that are like $19.95, bottom shelf whiskeys. We just don't know.
Yeah, in any case, they're all going to be like entry level though. So if you're getting started in whiskeys and bourbons, or you like it, but you're kind of branching out and learning what you might like, this might be the video for you to check out. And that's kind of where I'm at in the journey, what I'm kind of doing here. I know I like bourbon, I know I like whiskeys, but I don't always want to spend, the kind of money that a well-developed palate, a versed enthusiast might be wanting to spend. So that's what I'm here to give you that perspective on.
Right on. Do you have a particular whiskey that you like more than others?
I mean, I kind of, most of the time when I go to the liquor store these days, if I'm going for a bourbon, I do kind of angle toward Woodford Reserve. I like them a lot. There was a time when I really liked Knob Creek's maple something.
Oh yeah, the smoked maple.
Yeah, the smoked maple one, yeah. Now when I try it, it kind of tastes a little bit more like a maple bar, so maybe a little bit too sweet. But back in the day when I hadn't tried a couple of different types, my palate was even less refined. At that time it was really good, so that might be one to look at as well. Maybe we'll find it in here, probably not.
That's a great whiskey.
Yeah.
It's sweet, and you can mix it, which we did. If you take regular Knob Creek and smoked maple, and you mix it half and half, it tones down that maple bar, that's sweet, a good idea. And you get a little bit more of the bourbon characteristic. Same mash bill, same company and everything. You're just tempering that really sweet bourbon down, so it's a little more palatable. You can drink a little bit more of it without going into a diabetic coma.
Or if you do have a sweet tooth, I think I remember I probably did like a whiskey and Coke with vanilla Coke with it a couple of times.
Yeah, I bet that was
pretty good.
I bet that would go really well.
Sweet, but it worked.
Yes.
They played together well. Yeah. And more recently, I bought a little bottle of Woodford Reserve, and that's always a good go-to. Not super expensive or anything like that. That was a really good one as well.
Nice. Let's grab some paper. I think I got some paper in here, a couple pens.
Awesome.
There we go. I should have been better prepared. There, if you can write on that thing here, and I'll write on this. So we kind of have a little bit of tasting notes or something. So 1, 2, and 3. Just get in this one. I'm just labeling, so I kind of have a rough guess. All right, should we go in?
I'm ready for it.
I'm going to go into number 1. All right. Cheers, buddy. Cheers. Cheers to you guys. Nose.
All right.
Ooh, that's sweet.
It is.
That's mapley. Like we were talking about maple.
Yeah.
That's a very sweet whiskey.
Smells like it'll be kind of high proof though. Like you can smell the
Vanilla.
ethanol in there.
I got vanilla.
Imagine that. You could smell
caramel.
the ethanol in this hard
Yeah.
liquor.
Boy, that's candy. One's like high vanilla.
You have any guesses as to what
Vanilla.
this might be already?
Golly. I don't want to look
Call it.
behind. I don't want to look behind me because I'm afraid that will tip me off. So
Oh yeah, you'll see the one and be like, "Oh, that's it."
Yeah.
Suddenly, the nose and
Yep.
the visual side of the bottle will come together.
Right. So
I
what
would
I
call
did-
this like mellow and light.
and brown sugar. There's a lot of brown sugar in number 1 for me.
Yeah. See, I can't pick
Brown
out those individual
sugar.
like actual aromas like that. I can just tell you it's light. It doesn't it
Huh.
smells like it'll have a bit of a burn to it. It'll probably linger. I
Yeah.
feel like I can definitely smell the alcohol in there.
Now that brown sugar's kind of dissipating.
Yeah.
It's still there though.
But
Should we
it's
go in for a
yeah,
taste?
it's not smoky or anything like that. I don't
No.
think it's going to be real woody or anything. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
All right, let's see what we've got.
That's
There's that burn. Yep, saw that one coming.
That's the old.
It lingers nicely though. It's not too much.
No, it's I'm guessing it's probably in the 90s, maybe high 80s, 90s,
Yeah.
maybe. Doesn't feel like it's real hot. Okay, number 1. I'm gonna go in for a little second because you kind of have a cleansing palate. That first thing, your
True.
palate's like getting shocked all of a sudden because you're putting a high proof whiskey in it.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna go in and get a second. That's a nice whiskey. I'm just gonna put nice. It's plain.
good.
There's not a lot of that brown sugar and stuff that I got at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in the palate. The
Yeah.
palate's kind of a plain,
I
kind
would
of a
say
plain
so.
Jane
It's
whiskey.
I find the aftertaste a little bit more pleasant than the actual whiskey on the palate. It's got a burn to it that lingers in a nice way. It's
Right.
enjoyable. You can sit with that. You don't feel like you immediately need to take another sip. You can sit there and enjoy the burn a little bit, and
Nice.
enjoying that a little bit more than the whiskey itself necessarily.
It's got
yeah.
a decent finish.
Yes.
Go ahead and put your glass back up there. You don't want to get them mixed up.
Oh, good thing.
Then we'll move on to number 2. So decent whiskey. I enjoyed it. I mean, it's in the collection, but I've got
Sure.
some. Pardon my French. I've
I
got
think,
some shit whiskeys in this collection too, and they're all labeled. I had little sticky labels I put on them all. From our state liquor division, I went down through, so I found the price points. So when we reveal all of it, you'll know what each of these cost at your
I
liquor store.
wonder that one might be a little bit better with a couple of rocks, or maybe just a tiny, like a capful of
Maybe.
distilled water.
Yeah.
I think I might be able to pick up on some of those flavors a little better. But right now, it's really just ethanol. I
Really?
mean, well, not just ethanol, but it's not overpowering, but it's
strong.
dominant. It's the dominant
might be
flavor,
a-
I would say.
I don't. That might be Maker's 46, actually.
Okay.
That would be that Frenchy, kind of that sugary note. I don't know. So let's go. Number 2, we're going to nose it.
Real quick.
You can also, another trick that Josh and I use to reset your nose is smell your skin. Your skin is a natural reset for your nose.
That makes sense.
And it'll, like in coffee shops and stuff, they have the beans for perfume.
Close.
But your skin is a natural reset.
Okay.
Huh. Nose is... There's not much of a nose to this.
It's definitely subtler, but so are those alcohol notes that I was talking about from the last one. It doesn't seem like it's going to be so predominantly alcohol. It'll be more balanced, I think.
Yeah, that's number 1's
Is that
even a
one?
darker. Yeah, 1's even a darker color. So
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about like holding it up to light and looking at it.
yeah, this has really not much of a nose. A very weak nose. As far as bourbons go, I'm not really picking up. I'm picking up a little bit of sweet tart, that powdery sweet tart nose. Sweet tart, that You know those powder, the little sweet tarts, you unzip that powdery
Oh,
stuff that's in
you
them?
mean like the pixie sticks?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Well, like the little sweet tarts are in the roll and you twist
Oh,
them
yeah.
off. That
yeah, I know
powder
what you're
that's
talking
on
about.
them.
Yep.
That's what I smell on this.
Hmm.
It's really strange. Sweet tart. Okay. I'm not getting a lot of bourbon characteristics like your vanillas, brown sugar, leather from barrel, any of the tannins. I'm not getting any of that really.
Yeah, it's
really
still
plain.
It's still
It's-
mellow and plain, just with that alcohol factor kind of toned down.
I think this is pretty. This is a low proof. I feel like this is a very low proof whiskey. Proof 80. It's probably a 80 proof, maybe 85. I don't know.
Okay.
On the nose, it's not. Doesn't have much burn. Should we go in for a taste?
Yep.
Cheers, everybody. Yeah, just like I thought. That's a real low ABV.
Lower barrier to entry, I feel like, when it comes to that alcohol burn and the alcohol taste. Like I definitely taste more the bourbon itself here, or rather, it's not overpowered by the ethanol.
Weird. That's a really plain Jane whiskey.
Yeah. It's mellow.
Yeah, it's super mellow.
Probably a good mixer for a Jack and Coke or something like that. The few whiskey cocktails that are really really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's one of your. I'm feeling like this is one of your common run-of-the-mill whiskeys. It's just okay. There's whiskeys I think I would enjoy more. That's a mixer. Watch it be something really amazing, but it's not. I'm not going with my gut. I know. That's a low end, low cost, low end. Is pedestrian the right word? It's very easily accessible,
so.
low on the low scale of cost
Low
and years. It
or
doesn't have a
low-
lot of years in the barrel.
Yeah, there's just less of a, I guess you might say, like a barrier to entry to it.
Yeah.
It lingers on the palate well. You're probably not gonna like choke on it or like feel like
Yeah.
you really need to cut it or anything like that. But I'm also, how I said that first one with its kind of higher burn factor to it was a little more enjoyable to linger with. The finish was nicer.
It did
It's
have a
less. It was not. Yeah. This wasn't unpleasant by any
Yeah,
means.
that nose is definitely more.
Yeah,
Lungs
but you're just not having as much fun with that lingering
Right.
finish on this one here. It kind of like whiskey sip, yeah, and then it takes its leave and goes.
Right.
Yeah,
All right. Should we go in for number 3?
I think so.
All right. Let's see. Light color. Legs on it are
Not too much. No,
Yeah.
I'm saying.
fairly slow legs, so I mean,
Oh yeah, there we go.
it's hard to say with some of these lower proof whiskeys. They're not, if they're not chill filtered, non-chill filtered, they're going to have more oils and stuff. I don't think any of these are non-chill filtered whiskeys. I think they're just your run-of-the-mill standard whiskeys. Nose is
Oh, there we go. That's a little fruitier. I feel like. Smells sweeter, but there's
It
definitely.
does.
I would say this one was more alcohol-y on the nose. This one was more balanced and mellow and not a lot going on. And this one is a little bit more the actual characters of the whiskey itself as opposed to the alcohol, if that makes sense.
This nose is familiar, and I think it's a whiskey I'm not a real big fan of.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, there's more rye in this mash bill. I would not add water to this because it would bring out that rye. Yeah, this is not one of my favorite whiskeys in my collection.
You're pretty confident,
sure. Yeah. Is it a Jim Beam product? It's
I
not
had
Devil's
Jim
Cut.
Beam. I had Jim Beam once years ago, one time, and that was all I needed. And this was earlier in my college days. So
not-
I was probably drinking it wrong too, but still.
Yeah, the only Jim Beam I have a Jim Beam green label that's really good, but it's not opened. I have a Jim Beam Devil's Cut, really good.
I'm sure Jim Beam makes some great.
They
whiskeys
do.
and
They're
bourbons.
8-year.
What I had was the cheapest thing.
The white label Jim Beam is not
the
good
Monarch
whiskey.
vodka of whiskeys. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a. I don't like that nose.
No.
Nose. Yuck. I'm just gonna be. I'm gonna just keep it simple, plain English.
Say
Nose. It's got rye on it, so it's probably a high rye mash bill, and I don't like the nose.
I'm gonna say more personality on the nose. I don't know whether I'm gonna like the taste or not, but I know that it's not, the alcohol in it isn't as, it's not taking center stage as much.
No. There's some,
I do
there's
feel
some
like
other
there's
notes in there. It's
I
not
want
a-
to say there's some kind of cherry note in
kind of a
there or
fruit.
something fruity.
There's
yeah.
a fruit kind of pick up maybe some tannins. Oh, should we
All
go in
right.
for a try?
Let's see.
Cheers, everybody.
Real light, I would say.
Oh.
Like a thin syrupy kind of.
Yeah, that's not good. There's a
Feels thinner, less full
Yeah.
bodied, and on some level almost like it's
ugh.
already been slightly watered down.
Yeah, that is
You know what
not.
I mean?
That is young. That whiskey probably ain't more than 3 years old, if that.
That
Maybe
is-
2 to 3 years old. I can taste a lot of the. It's green. It's very green. And you guys that have watched us for years, we talk about green whiskey. It's got that green lumber kind of note to it when it hasn't sat in the barrel long enough for the barrel to impart those vanillas and caramels and that leather and that
The
rich,
mellow flavors,
Right.
the hearty flavors that you want
Right.
out of a good whiskey. Or
right? Because you're going to get, you get all of your color, and about 80 to 90% of your flavor comes from the barrel. So you've got a good mash bill going in, a good white dog, but then the barrel, if it's a rye whiskey, tends to soften the rye the longer it sits. This is young. I'm not a fan. If I was rating them, that is my last. That is my least favorite. I'm gonna get some water. Let's go back. Number 2.
I would say that third one had more personality on the nose. I kind of said that a bit
Right.
ago. It's less alcohol-y, but then when I tasted it, I felt like it just goes away quickly. It comes
Yeah,
and
it
goes.
does.
It's just like, yep, you technically just drank whiskey. This is one of the whiskeys ever made. But yeah, not too special to it. I wouldn't say I dislike it. It's not making me gag or anything like that. Again, just one of the whiskeys ever made. And then at number 2, I wrote just more balanced nose. I didn't put too much else to it. Oh, going back to it though, I do feel like it's sweeter. There's more sugar.
Right.
Yeah. Now that I can kind of compare between the few, I've got a few right in front of me now. I can draw some comparisons.
Right.
Yeah. But still had less of a. I said earlier that it had less of a finish to it. It just kind of it came, said hi, and then went away. Compared to that first one that stuck around for a while,
Yeah.
and then you can sit and enjoy it. And just
The first one, definitely had more noticeable notes on the nose and stuff, and then plain in the middle, but it was nice. It was approachable.
Yeah. I would drink a bottle of this, honestly. Like I would buy that.
number
and keep
2?
It around. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's my favorite. I'll try that first one more time.
Okay.
But it is good, It's not amazing or anything like that. It's
Mm-hmm.
definitely not my favorite. I don't think I've ever had.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
$40 and under. I
Right.
think there's some whiskeys in here that are like $20
Probably
and
way
under.
down there. Very.
That last
Low
one tastes
barrier
like
to
it
entry.
should be like $14.95 bourbon at best. That is not something. It's probably. I think when the girls poured it, it was probably full. I don't know. Watch it be.
knows.
I know it ain't Buffalo Trace. I know Buffalo Trace, but these are whiskeys. I've got my lineup already. So once you're good, pick your favorite, second, and third.
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite nose? Your favorite overall taste and characteristic? If you were to sit and of these three, which one as a young whiskey drinker?
Yeah.
Which one do you find most pleasant on your palate? Because his palate is going to be different than mine. Just like, as y'all know, Josh's and my palates are completely different. Mm-hmm. And Josh has to work, so that's why he's not here. And my son's here, so it'd be fun to have him on the channel.
I'm going to get my second taste of our number one.
Number one?
One more time, yeah.
I came back to number one, and I enjoyed it more than the other two coming back.
Second time coming around, I'm getting a little more flavor on the whiskey itself,
Mm-hmm.
and it still has that nice finish. But yeah, sweet flavors, and it was a tiny little sip. I probably took a bigger sip last time. I think
Mm-hmm.
kind of went down the wrong pipe a little tiny bit too, so
Right.
that might be skewing. But that one is pretty good. All right, I'm thinking number one is probably going to be my favorite, closely followed by number two.
Okay.
Okay. And then number three, I don't dislike it. It's fine. I could totally drink it. But just less impressive in any regard, I feel like. And I could be being skewed by, what my dad had to say about it as well.
That's possible.
That's highly possible. But yeah, as I'm
save
sipping
a
it, there's just not as much going on.
Make sure you save a little for our toast at the end, too.
Okay, yeah. I guess it's going to have to be. So that number one was probably my favorite, closely followed by number two, and I don't have too much of that left, so I'll just do the tiniest little sip of this last one again.
See what you think. They're all average bourbons. They're just run-of-the-mill bourbons, I think.
Yeah.
Low proofs. The last one might have a little more proof, but...
Yeah, I think so.
But
this is
the first
probably the lowest proof one, I want to say. Do you think?
Possibly, yeah. The middle one, number two, yeah. I think it's probably
As
the
I'm just
lowest
kind
proof.
of like that. There's a little more alcohol, a little more burn to it than this one right here. That went down really easy, but also didn't do anything super amazing.
So, you have a favorite.
I'm gonna say that number one's my favorite.
Number one is Cole's favorite.
Yep.
I have to agree with him. My number one favorite was number one, was my favorite. Had the best nose, and it had the best overall characteristics. They were pretty low though, really, but I did enjoy number one. The nose, quite a bit over the other two. What about your second one? What was your second favorite?
That's gonna be number two
Number
for
two.
me. Yeah, we pretty much just go right in order here. I found it a little more balanced on the nose, just to sit there and like sniff and enjoy it. I was getting more out of it than I was out of my number one, on my first run through anyway. But upon tasting it, it just didn't do anything really spectacular.
Didn't stand out.
It didn't stand out, yeah. It didn't,
Yeah.
and it didn't linger. It just kind of
Right.
showed up, made an appearance, and then left.
Right.
But nothing to complain about, really. Just nothing really wowing me either.
Right.
Yeah.
It
Whereas
wasn't
on that,
whoa, this is amazing.
yeah. Whereas
whiskey.
on that number one, I was really enjoying that lingering finish.
Cool.
Yeah. And
I
then,
agree.
And then that number three, just even. Just even less whiskey personality to it overall. I did find it had more notes on the nose that I could kind of pick up.
It
at
has
least
a
my
rye.
first time through.
It has a high rye. For what me, I
rather
can
than
pick up
just
it's a
smelling
rye.
alcohol and smelling
Right.
ethanol. I could sit there and like sniff it, but where it counts really is when
Right.
you taste it, and it was just drinking. Like I said, one of the whiskeys ever made.
Yeah. And I'm not going to even try to name what they are, because I literally had almost 30 whiskeys. Had 27, I think, that the girls could pick from. 27 that I have in the bar from going down my state liquor division and picking the prices. So there's almost 30 whiskeys, and they're all very similar price points. They're under $40. I think the ones that we have poured are probably under 30. I'm not going to be able to name them. I just know that's my favorite. Number one. Number two was okay. Number three, Did not enjoy that at all. I didn't like the nose. I didn't like the flavor. I'll sit at home with you, buddy.
Well, let's find out what it is.
All right, and here's the sealed paper. What are they? Good Lord.
You'll be surprised.
Number 1, Knob Creek. Number 2, Buffalo Trace.
Okay.
Really?
There was a while where I was buying and drinking a lot of Buffalo
And number
Trace, but it's
3,
been a
Old
while.
Crow. That does not surprise me. Old Crow. Yeah, that Old Crow is... it is nasty. I was looking across going, man, this tastes like 10 High or Old Crow, or I've got 2 whiskeys I'm looking at on the shelf on the other side behind the camera, and they're 2 shite whiskeys. And I was like, this tastes like one of them, but I'm really bummed out that that's Buffalo Trace.
Yeah.
Why is that
I've
so
got a
plain?
tiny little bit in here left.
And I've never been a huge Knob Creek fan. So is that the Knob Creek
I've
9-year?
definitely, I've had more Buffalo Trace than I've had Knob Creek. Again, it was a long time ago that I was buying that Knob Creek, and it was mainly the maple,
There you go.
the smoked maple one.
Yeah.
And then for a while, when I was buying more whiskey and bourbon, it was mainly Buffalo Trace was my go-to. But yeah, it's been
Old
it's been a changing
Crow.
time.
What is that? 1895. So there you go. Just so y'all can see, there is the list, and I put the price points next to it. So in our liquor division, it is Idaho. It's a controlled state, so everything is set. Price points are good. No one's robbing anybody off of anything. Knob Creek's running price $39.95. Buffalo Trace $25.95, and Old Crow $18.90. Oh, $11.95. There you go. That's why it tastes like that. And I know Old Crow, it says on the bottle, it's aged 3 years. So I did call that one age. I'm
Yep.
like, this is a young whiskey.
You've got
I said 2 to 3 years. I knew it. I'm really bummed about Buffalo Trace. I'm like,
That might be why I found it kind of unremarkable, because I've had plenty of bottles of
be damned.
Buffalo Trace and didn't really, appreciate it. It was just something to relax after work kind of thing while I'm probably playing video games or doing something else to distract myself rather
Right.
than really focusing on it. So I think that might have a lot to do with what I said about it being less remarkable than that Knob Creek, which, I've had before and I've enjoyed,
Right.
but it's been a little while. And,
right.
Yeah.
And Knob Creek's 9 years old.
Yeah.
Knob Creek's 9. Buffalo Trace is 7 to 8. Crap Old Crow is 3 years old. So, there you have it. I am very shocked that I didn't pick Buffalo Trace. And I didn't know that it was Buffalo Trace. I drink a lot of Buffalo Trace, y'all. I am very shocked at that. So, that is our dog Stella deciding to be loud and obnoxious. She's 2 pounds of terror. She's not scary at all. She just keeps living on at 12 or 13 years old. So, there you have it. For me and Cole, we both like Knob Creek the most at $39.95, so it's a $40 bottle of bourbon. It is made by Jim Beam. It is part of their small batch collection of the small batch collection, which is Knob Creek, Basil Hayden's, Booker's, and there's one more. Basil Hayden, Booker's, Knob Creek.
I wish I could help you, but I got no.
There's another one in their small batch collection, and I don't like them. The only one of the small batch, Baker's, that's the other one, Baker's, is Knob Creek. That's why I have it in the bar, because I do like it better than the others. Well, there you go. Look at that, folks. I picked Knob Creek over Buffalo Trace. Josh is going to be pretty disappointed in my selection there. I am disappointed, but you know what? It is what it is. Today, Knob
another
Creek
day,
made-
another day, it might have been,
Yeah.
in the mood for something else, depending
It's
on
gotta-
maybe what you had for dinner or what beer you had before. Maybe your palate
Yeah.
set a different way. Another day you might have picked at Buffalo
will.
Trace, but something to be said for the fact that we both just chose that Knob Creek.
Right.
and Knob
It has
Creek's
a
fine-
beautiful
it's a good
nose.
whiskey.
It has a really nice nose. That's why I'm going to finish
I'm holding
it.
the Old Crow right here because that's what I've got
Lord.
left.
God
So
bless.
there we
All
go.
right. Well, I think we'll wrap this video up. We hope you guys have enjoyed it. New videos come out every single Saturday. Remember, hit that thumbs up down in the bottom. I've made it super easy for y'all. In the lower corner, you'll have a YouTube icon. If you click on that, you subscribe. It's painless. It is totally painless
And free.
And free. And then you'll get a new note. You'll get a notification every single week when a new video comes out from Durbin's Bourbon. You can log in and watch it. And we hope that we give you some insight in whiskeys and products and cocktails and stuff like that. But really, it's just a couple guys having fun drinking whiskey. With that said, we'll wrap this video up. You got anything to add, Cole?
Go out and get some Knob Creek. Give it a try. See if you agree. See if you don't agree.
Yeah.
Leave your opinions in the comments. Let us know what you thought. Maybe run this taste test yourself.
Yeah.
Take those three, mix them up, and see if you agree with us or maybe not. But yeah,
Right.
let us know in the comments.
Cool. Well said. Well, as always, enjoy your whiskeys and bourbons
Any
any
way
way
you
you
like.
like. Cheers, everybody.